Well, Pastor TJ here, and I am standing somewhere special. We are buying land, which is incredibly exciting, especially when you consider where it is. It's only 5 minutes from the high school where we meet. It's located just north of Chinden, between Star and 16. It's in a beautiful development with houses, shopping, restaurants, everything right there. And it's conveniently located so that anyone from anywhere in the valley can get there in a pretty short amount of time. Now, for now, we need a couple things to happen. We need a zoning change, a conditional use permit, and we need to continue to do church. We need to continue reaching the lost, growing people, discipling, raising up the next generation. That doesn't stop because there's land. In fact, it only multiplies our desire to do even more of that as we prepare for the next phase of ministry that God has for us. Now, all of this is an amazing set of circumstances, but the coolest thing is that this land, we're buying it debt-free, 100% paid for. And let me tell you how God got us here. Back in August of 2025, I was at an event. It was a nonprofit. They were raising funds, and I thought, you know what? Our church should support this. And so God put it on my heart to support this ministry. And as I was giving, the act of giving, God stopped me and he said, I want you to pray for $5 million. He said, I want you to ask me for $5 million. And I thought, okay, God, if you're asking me to ask you, I'm gonna ask you. And I prayed that prayer, I gave, and I told my wife, I don't know why, but I feel like God just asked me to ask him for $5 million so that our church can get into a building. Well, fast forward, it's November, it's our big Give Sunday, and in the hallway between the services, somebody stops me and he says, hey, I've got a piece of land that you might be interested in, and I want to work a deal with you. I said, okay, let's talk. Fast forward, get to January, someone texts me and they say, hey, I've got 5 minutes, can you meet me in a parking lot? I want to give you something. We meet, we walk across the parking lot, and he hands me a check for $1 million. Fast forward 2 more months, and we get the appraisal on the property. It's worth $4.8 million, and our sale price is only $780,000, meaning that in 8 months, God went from prayer to $5 million. Isn't that an incredible story of God's provision, the way he speaks to his people, the way he leads us? And you know what? The story's not over. These 2 people, they weren't even in our church in August when I prayed that prayer. One of them wasn't even following Jesus at that time. That's incredible. And both of them heard God speak and they said yes. And when they said yes, they didn't want their name attached to that yes. They didn't want a brick on a sidewalk or a name on a building. In fact, both of them told me, please keep us anonymous. We want God to receive the glory, not us. And that's beautiful. We all have a yes, and we can all give God glory. That's a huge lesson from this. So today, God gets all the glory for what's right here behind me, and everything that's moving forward, he gets all the glory for that too, because we're a church and we're a people that want to say yes to God and give him the glory in the process. What an incredible story that's just getting started. And I invite you to take your next step in it too. What's your yes? How can you give God glory? What are you going to do to push forward the vision that God has for the Treasure Valley? He has a plan for us. We're reaching the lost, we're discipling the found, and we're raising up the next generation. And that's going to continue. And we get to say yes to everything that he has for us. I can't wait to see where this goes.